Wayne here, and we're looking at the Lenox Diamond SawZall blade. This has little pieces of diamond. I don't know if it has carbide in it too. I think they have one that does have carbide, but the diamond is the harder of the two materials. And this is designed for tile or cast iron. It's a super hard blade. This is one of the most destructive blades you can buy at your big box store, your local hardware stores. It's got enough grit to it and large enough pieces to where it'll actually remove some material, whereas a lot of the blades on the market, especially with hole saws and things like that, they don't provide enough grip or large enough grit, and it's very, very slow, tedious cutting, and you build up too much heat, then you wear off the abrasive that actually holds, or the whatever holding apparatus that holds the abrasive into it. You're not actually wearing the diamond or the carbide out. You're actually wearing out the whatever the binder is. So I've got a little piece of tile here, and we'll just check this out real quick. Got a SawZall, and we can get a little bit closer look at the teeth on this thing, or at the cutting agent. Cast iron will ruin your average bimetal blade. It'll trash it in a hurry. So we'll check that out real quick, and then put this in here, and we'll cut a little bit of tile and see how it turns out. I don't need to cut a whole lot. Just need to see that it will go ahead and cut tile just like so. If you flush it out and keep it cool with some water, it's going to go ahead and cut for quite a while. It's gonna last a little while. I don't know exactly how long. I haven't had to cut a long 6-inch or foot-long piece of tile, but harder steels and cast iron, it'll cut through a 2-inch piece of pipe. One blade will, with ease. So for more information, check out the website below, or check out Lenox.com. Should be available at most of your hardware stores. Thanks for watching. Due to the poor performance of the grit, the carbide grit on regular mild steel, and it kind of clogging up, we're not going to be using the diamond blades on here. We're going to be saving these for some of the super hard alloy steel, and mostly the tile is what these are going to be used for. It's just too fine a grit. It's not going to actually cut through, collect, and remove the material. It's just going to kind of keep rubbing the same material against each other, and then it's eventually going to heat up. It's going to warp the blade, and then it's going to start, the diamonds are going to start falling out, and it's going to be useless. So those cutting mild steel is not a good idea, not recommended. And the rem grit will do it. If it's the last SawZall blade you've got in your truck, go ahead and use it, but it's not recommended. And this is the Lenox Diamond cast iron cutting blade. I got a piece of cast iron here, and we're going to go ahead and see what it takes to cut through this. So there we can start to see the little fragments of diamond in there, cutting through this quite nicely. Cast iron's not going to gum up and kind of fill the voids in between here in this grit like a regular steel would, so or a lighter steel, aluminum or something like that. So that's why these do cut cast iron, and they cut it fairly well. This would be a whole lot faster, and this blade is going to cut way, way longer than a bimetal blade like that. Or this is the one, which one was it? We had another one we used to cut cast iron, this same piece of cast iron with, and the teeth were pretty flattened out by the time we got through it. So this would definitely be the way to go if you have to make several cuts. If you do have a regular bimetal blade, on some cast iron you can get through it very slowly and burning up blades quite often. So thanks for watching. Here we got our piece of file. The carbide blade was able to cut this, and because it's extra super hard, the diamond's going to too. So this one started to heat up at the end pretty good. You can see it started to blue right in here, and it started to get the blade a little blue too. But the diamond holding up well, cutting through these hardened steels and these alloys, extremely nice. That's a real good cut right there. So if you have something super hard, one of these real super hard alloys, diamond blade is going to cut it, and it's going to cut it fairly well. It's just not going to cut mild steel. Okay, so we got stainless steel here and diamond coated blade. This is the Lenox blade. They're all about the same. Milwaukee's got one. The Torch, it's just diamond impregnated steel, and they should cut through this harder steel pretty good. Now this one actually did, kind of what I didn't want it to do. It started to gum up into the diamond here. You can see the bottom of that. You can see how it's starting to gum that up a little bit. Hopefully that'll flush out, but we just don't know. But that's why it started to slow, and that's why it started to build up heat. That's why I continue to move it back and forth and try and move it around. I can't move it too far towards the tip, otherwise it'll pinch and it'll flex the blade. So that's diamond cutting stainless steel, about a 62 on the Rockwell hardness scale, roughly 58 to 62 on the Rockwell hardness scale. Okay, so this here was the last little piece of the cobalt drill bit. This is pretty much the hardest piece of steel that I can come up with. This is one of the hardest things I can actually come up with. And luckily, it's a drill bit from TTP and Hard Drills, and they've actually had their drill bits tested and certified for a 66 on the Rockwell hardness scale. So we just want to go ahead and cut this with the diamond blade as well, because the carbide grit did cut this, but the carbide toothed had a little bit of trouble. Okay, so this did cut it, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the diamond grit that's still in there, and it's still looking pretty good to me. This is extremely impressive. This is absolutely one of the hardest steels that we could possibly come across. And it cut right through it. You can see the carbide side. The diamond side actually didn't get very warm. It's not even blued or anything. You can see the carbide side cut about halfway through, and then the drill bit actually just broke right there. But it did cut it. The carbide did. The diamond just did a whole lot better job of it, a lot smoother and a lot finer cutting. So congratulations to the diamond bit. The only problem with the diamond bit is you have to be cutting super hard steel, otherwise it's going to gum up the diamond, and it's just gonna gum that thing up, and then it's gonna start to create heat, and then the blade is going to start to fail. But that's pretty good that it cut through that. This is pretty much the hardest stuff I can come up with, other than you know, synthetic ceramic or something like that. So awesome job for the diamond SawZall blade for being able to do that. Once again, plenty of diamond aggregate on there still. Seems to look pretty good and still be intact. I don't see any bald spots, and it'll definitely cut your concrete block. Also making the smoothest cut would be the diamond.